Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome for wherever you are tuning in from around the world. My name is Mark Simpson, and I give hosts just like you the tools, the tactics, the training, and the confidence to go and get more direct bookings. And there's a big pain point in this industry, and there's a question that I get asked a lot. Mark, which PMS provider should I go with? Property management software or PMP, whatever you want to describe them as. Now, there are 1,400 different variations of PMS providers. It's crazy. It's bananas. It's insane. I've done a blog post on boostly.co.uk/PMS where we interviewed 100 hosts. We find out who they use and the pros and the cons, which was cool. But people want more. So I reached out to Hostfully. I reached out to Hospitable. I reached out to Uplisting and Guesty and asked if they could come into a Zoom room where we'd have up to 100 hosts who were wanting to ask questions. And they all said yes. We got them all in. It was really good. I recorded it and I wanted to put it as a podcast and a YouTube video. So the questions that people were asking, they were members of Team Boostly. And if you want to know more about Team Boostly, send me a message and I'll show you how you can join. You can email me, mark@boostly.co.uk. Just put subject Team Boostly want to join. Or you can send me a message on Instagram, which is @BoostlyUK. But anyway, this is not for that. We had questions, we had people coming in, we had numbers. We really broke down the different versions of a PMS provider, where you should be on your journey. When should you be getting a PMS? So is it property number 1 or is it property number 5? And we really broke it down. And what I love about the mix of people that we got is that we've got people in here that are helping hosts at different stages of their journey. And I'll leave you to decide on which one's going to be best for you. A really key takeaway that we learned from Vinny at Uplisting was that you've got to take advantage of the 14-day trials or the trials that are being provided. At the end of the day, you could go off hearsay, you could go off what somebody else said, you can go off what your next door neighbor's doing. But for you, it's all about who you work with best. So bear that in mind as we tune into this podcast. It's about an hour long. I will timestamp it so you can jump from backwards and forwards, etc. But please make sure that you watch, listen, pay attention. And if you want to have any further questions, reach out to the property management software providers directly. Okay, everybody, this is a really good one. So please pay attention and please make sure that you not only watch, but you take action. Take care. Next thing you'll see is my face and Frank from Hostfully. Say hi to Frank for me, please, in the chat. If the time occurs, we'll even let you unmute your microphone and you can ask a question. So we've got Frank from Hostfully. So Frank, and if you can just double check, can you see the chat that's in the left-hand side in the chat box?
Yes.
Brilliant. All right. So you've got co-hostability. The floor is yours for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Just walk everybody through. Number 1, what is Hostfully? Number 2, why do you call it a PMP? You know, just all the things that basically you can just sort of get across with Hostfully as soon as possible. And then let me know when you're finished. And then what I'll do is I'll open the floor to questions. I'm going to be busy letting people in the room. So if you ask me a question, if I don't respond, if it looks like I'm looking to my right, I'm not paying attention. I'm just letting people in the room as we go.
Yeah, no worries, Mark. No worries at all. So yeah, I'm happy. I can totally take it from here. Absolutely. So can everyone see my screen? Make the most out of every stay, Pretty Mountains.
Yep, we're all good.
Yep. All right, wonderful. So kind of just before we start, I just wanted to let you know a little bit more about Hostfully. So what we do is we essentially strive to make the most out of every stay simply by helping vacation rental companies and property managers make more money, save time, and just improve the overall traveler experience. So as Mark mentioned, I am Frank Bosey. I'm the Senior Director of Business Development here at Hostfully. And today we're going to be talking a little bit more about our products, a little bit about the company, and then normally we dive into a demo to learn about more of the platforms and features. But again, just feel free to ask any question you like. This is my contact information. So again, feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm always happy to help. So a little bit about Hostfully. The company was founded about 6 years ago. That's where we started with our guidebook platform, and now we're the #1 in the market for digital guidebooks. So the guidebook is an individually populated platform. We manage over 30,000 properties around the world. We're live in 85 different countries. And with our guidebook platform, we have over 2 million views per month and 500,000 recommendations within our guidebooks alone. Before starting Hostfully, a few of us worked with Salesforce, Apple, Marriott, Netscape, and some of us are active vacation rental managers as well. Now, as some of you may know, Hostfully has two products, and these are both completely standalone products. You have the property management platform, which is basically designed to streamline your operations and increase your revenue. And then we have the guidebook platform, and this is where you provide all the details for your guest. They're both fully integrated, so you're of course more than welcome to use both of them together, but you also have the option to use just the property management software or just the digital guidebook. And a quick overview of our digital guidebook platform. It's a full web-based solution, completely mobile responsive. The guidebook is where you're going to provide all the information that the guests will need to know during their trip, and for them to something for them to access before their trip, or even something that for them to access while they're staying with you. So what the guidebook does is we make you look more professional. You're going to ultimately spend less time on guest communications on the guidebook, but you'll also have this higher quality of guest communication, because now you can refer your guests to the guidebook for those annoying pesky details like how to use the thermostat, how do you check in, what's the address, and instead just talk to them about the fun stuff. Our guidebook also has a print version, so you can manage your digital and print in one place, and you could also private label it. This way it enhances your brand, but it's also a single source of information, not just for your guests, but also for your entire team. And the great thing about this is that it doesn't require your guests to download an app, because our guidebook is a web application. So each of your properties will have its own link. Once the guest clicks on that link, it communicates to any device that they're currently using. So that's the guidebook in a nutshell. Next up is the property management platform. So we have a fun, cool, unique approach to the user interface and how we handle property management operations in general. A lot of it is guest-centric, including our dashboard and our pipeline, which I'm excited to show in a couple of seconds. But before I do that, I just wanted to just take a step back and review some of our functionality at a higher level. So we help manage your business from tip to tail. We're also integrated with dynamic pricing, payment processing, cleaning, accounting, home automation. So you have the property data side of Hostfully becomes your central place to manage all the details of your listing. So pictures, description, amenities, pricing, availability, all of those will be managed within Hostfully moving forward. Over to distribution, we're able to sync with all the direct channels that we have connected to our channel management. And currently we're fully integrated with Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, Marriott International Homes and Villas, and some other channels as well. We can also integrate with your current website, and we have a website. We have a template for that website as well. If you don't have a website, what's really nice with Hostfully is you can use our out-of-the-box website, which I'll show, which if you have more questions, I can show you. And that's basically just a full booking engine, which is really easy to customize, and it gets your properties up and running rather seamlessly. Onto the booking side, we have a centralized reservation system, flexible calendar. You can filter all of your reservations, and you can actually create quotes directly from that calendar. We also have direct integration with payment processors. And as of right now, we're fully integrated with PayPal, Stripe, and vacation rent payment. In regard to guest management, you can automate emails and text messages, but we also now offer a unified inbox 2.0, where managers and owners can communicate within the Hostfully platform across all the different channels with all of your guests. Also keep in mind, our integration with our guest communications digital guidebook is one of the best in class. And then we have reporting. So we have daily, weekly check-in, check-out reports, transaction reports, financial reports. We also have an owner's portal where the owners can basically see the financial statements and the calendars for the properties which they own. Also, we just have our new enhanced reporting feature where you can start customizing your own categories, fees, columns, and you can automate emails to go out either daily, weekly, or monthly. So a lot of automation happening on the back end now. This right here is our calendar. This is how you want your calendar to ultimately look. It's a multi-channel calendar, color-coded, with lots of different reservations from lots of different sources. So if you have reservations from different channels, they appear here in different colors. And the cool thing is that you can open each one individually and basically manage everything from one central screen. Of course, the benefits of using our platform is the overall streamline of the booking process. You get your distributions of listings across multiple channels, while of course, at the same time, you're keeping rates and availability in sync, and you're also connecting with the best integrated partners in the industry. And you see here that Hostfully has a lot of really cool integrations, making us a fully integrated property management platform where our clients are now able to centralize their entire tech stack via one channel manager. And these are some more of the integrations. We're also winning awards. So we won the Keystone Awards back to back as the best software and the best software to grow with. And we recently won the Shorties Award of 2022 as the best property management software. So we're really excited for that. And then you can also see, sorry, I'm Italian. I talk with my hands.
You're good.
And here you can, here you can also see we are preferred partners with Airbnb, Booking.com, and Vrbo. We have industry-leading customer support and implementation. So we have personalized onboarding with 3 one-on-one onboarding sessions with a designated onboarding manager. We also have 24-hour, 7-day-a-week customer support, and we have a customer satisfaction score of over 96%. So that's showing how happy our users are with Hostfully and with our customer support. We do have a bunch of fun case studies, but I know I reached my 10 minutes. So any questions you have, please let me know. I'm always happy to help.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you. So
sorry if I went too fast. I'm a little out of breath on that one.
No, that was perfect. Out of breath, mostly because you're talking with your hands. So yeah.
It's a workout in itself.
You're good. No, really good. So thank you very much. Okay, so I'm looking in the comments, and there's one from Jill. And what I'll do is I'll speak to Jill's question now, and then if anybody has a question, you can literally raise your hand. There's a raise your hand feature. Tap that. You come to the top of the chat, and I'll unmute you so you can ask Frank live. So the question is, so she loves her Hostfully guidebook.
Oh, great.
She wishes that she could import her local attractions map details rather than replicate all of the hundreds of details. So is there anything coming up where they could potentially import instead of having to like duplicate as such?
Kind of and sort of. So you can create a card specifically for that attraction, and then all you have to do is click on the other guidebooks that you want, and those will automatically go to the other guidebooks. We do now have a partnership with Viator, where you, the property manager, can get 8% commission if your guest were to book an attraction via Viator, via the guidebook. But by using that, essentially Viator is recommending all the attractions, and that's an easy way of just automatically getting that imported.
Fantastic. So we actually have a question in from Greg. Greg's put his hand up. So Greg, if you want to very quickly just unmute your microphone, buddy. I know you've got a question about payment and something else, so it's easy if you just unmute your microphone and ask away.
Good morning, Mark.
There we are. How are we?
We're fine at 7 a.m. Hey, got a question for Hostfully. Can you book multiple rooms at one time, i.e. put them in the same basket? That way the guest is paying just once, or do they have to keep going back to the platform to book each separate room?
So as of right now, they would have to go to the platform to book separate rooms. However, that is a feature we're working on. We're working on a bulk editing feature, and there's going to be different components to that. But that's one of the things that we really do want to get working. What we do have is really cool. Like, let's say you get a direct call, and we know how much Mark loves direct bookings. But if somebody gives you a call and they're like, hey, Greg, I'm looking for a property or 2-3 properties with 4 to 7 bedrooms. I don't want to spend more than, 100 a night. And we're looking to stay with you from June 1st to June 7th. You, on our calendar, you're able to have that quote building feature. All the properties that are available over those dates that match the guest requirements will populate. And then in one email, you can automatically send that email to the guest, which will then be hyperlinked to your direct booking site. So there's, again, a little bit of each. That's totally feasible, and we make it super user friendly for you.
And Greg, you got one more question, I believe, on payments.
Yes. Can we use PayPal as a payment?
Yep, we do have a partnership with PayPal. So we are integrated with PayPal, Stripe, and Vacation Rent Payment.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, Greg. The only thing with PayPal, and it's, we can always discuss that later, but with PayPal, I think there's a bit of a delay or miscommunication when it comes to direct payments and with Vrbo and some other channels. So I would just suggest maybe taking a look or testing out Stripe for a little bit too, because I've heard more success stories with Stripe than PayPal, but just, FYI.
That's Brilliant. Greg, thank you so much for coming up. So we've got another question on for
Thanks, Greg.
for Hostfully. And I do apologize if I mispronounce your name. Lakeisha Williamson. If you want to unmute your microphone,
That's
please.
correct. That's
Did I?
correct.
Oh my gosh,
You
my
got
heart
it.
was in my
Bottom line.
mouth saying.
Hi, Lakeisha.
Hi. So I have a few questions. Does Hostfully have a marketing feature that assists with direct bookings is the first question.
Like SEO kind of, we do have custom branding. We don't have technically a team or any automation that helps with SEO and, you know, getting your name front and center, but we do have an integration with our reviews. I'm not too sure if you heard of reviews. It's an integration that pulls your Airbnb and your Vrbo reviews to your direct booking website, and that's helped our users with their SEO. So just something to consider also. But no, unfortunately, behind the scenes, we don't assist with that. But with your direct booking website, you can work with custom branding within Hostfully to really, you know, get your company out there.
Oh,
Awesome.
okay, wonderful. And then
and also, sorry, Lakeisha, just thinking outside the box. We have automated emails and text messages. So once you get the guest, you get their email, their personal information. Also with the guidebook, we have a splash screen feature where you can obtain the guest's email address. With those two together, you can send out promotions and marketing, either with our integration with MailChimp, or you can create an automatic email to get sent like, I don't know, 10 days after checkout saying, thank you for staying us. Love to welcome you back. Here's my direct booking site. Here's my discount code if you want to book direct. And that's a nice little evergreen promotion that I normally suggest to my clients.
okay, and is there an option for them to opt in to receive those emails and text messages?
Essentially with them providing you with their email, and yeah, I know different markets and states and countries are different with their rules when it comes down to this. But essentially they give you the email address is, you know, checking the box that they're, you know, willing to receive communication from you.
Have you got any more questions? Because we've got 3 more minutes till I have to bring in our next PMS. So we've got 3 more minutes.
They can wait, Mark.
Okay, so
yeah.
Okay. Can I ask the other questions? Or
yeah,
no?
absolutely. Go for it. You've got time.
So when listing, when I change a listing in Hostfully, does it change across all channels?
Yes, ma'am. All the channels to which we integrate. So yeah, short answer, yes.
Okay,
Hostfully is going to become your central place to manage all of your listings. Any updates get communicated automatically within seconds to all the channels to which you're connected.
There's a great question that's come in, and I think this is one that we'll be able to ask everybody. So I'm going to go and ask it. So with Hostfully, are you set up to be able to help host maybe 1 to 5 properties, or is it best 5+? These are sort of the main questions that I'm seeing coming in the Facebook group and in the chat. So who do you help best most?
We have users from 1 property to 3,000 properties. So as I mentioned earlier, Hostfully is being recognized as back-to-back winners for the Keystone Awards as the best property management software to assist with your growth and your scalability. So we've been recognized to have those features and capabilities to assist with growth. So we're across the board. And I know we have a great partnership with Boostly, and you have, you know, some Hostfully clients that have 1 listing and some that have 100 that, you know, get direct booking websites. So short answer, we deal with everyone. Yeah.
Good.
And we love everyone equally.
And when it comes to pricing, how does it break down? So does it go on number of properties? How does it generally sort of work to get started with?
Yeah, so we have fully transparent online. You can just toggle with the amount of properties, but we have starter package, 1 to 5 listings. And then we have pro package, which is, 1 to 4 listing is starter, 5 to 11 is pro, 12 to 19 is pro plus. And then once you exceed 19 and you reach your 20th property, it's premium, and that's on a per listing basis. But everything's on hostfully.com under pricing. Play around with our toggle, but also you have my contact information. It's frank@hostfully.com. Really shoot me a message if you have any questions or if you want to continue the conversation. Always happy to help.
That's fantastic. Can you just bring that slide up on the screen one more with your details on? That was really, really good. Thank you very much. So frank@hostfully.com. There are questions. So obviously you can email directly. There's some really good questions that haven't had a chance to get answered. So yeah, please do pop them into frank@hostfully.com. Go to hostfully.com/pricing as my timer is going off. Frank, buddy, that was amazing. Thank you very much for getting kickstarted. I know you have to get off because you've got other things to do with your day. So I do really, really, really appreciate it. So thank you very much for coming back. Any final thing that you want to say to the members before we wrap up part one?
No, just thank you, Mark, for having me. For everyone that's on the call, really, I would love to have a one-on-one demo with you, really deep dive into our features and capabilities and answer any outstanding questions. Really not an inconvenience at all. I will love to continue this conversation. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Can we all say thank you, Frank, in the chat, in the Zoom? That would be amazing. All right, buddy, let me just do this. So that was awesome. That was a great way to get started. I know I set the bar, huh? You did good. You did very good. All right, so we're going to stop that. We're going to stop the screen share. Which was lovely. Okay, so what we're going to do, if you've got questions, we're going to nicely separate them, because what's going to happen now is we're going to move on to our next PMS provider. And what we're going to do here, we're going to pop there in the waiting. Oh, it feels like I'm on Clubhouse again. Feels like I'm on Clubhouse. Right, what we're going to do now, we're going to bring in Matthew from Hospitable. Now, do we have any Hospitable customers in the crowd? If so, please jump in and say hi. Matthew, I'm just going to find you in the list. So I'm going to make you co-host.
Sweet.
Whereabouts are you? Now I have to find you again because you've gone moving up on the list. Brilliant. So we're good. Add to pin. There he is. All right, excellent. Fantastic.
Hey, all.
Okay, so we have got a lot of Boostly people in the audience. So we've just gone through round number one, which was Hostfully, which was great. So we've had loads of Hostfully questions. So now I want everybody just to like refresh your minds, and we're going to come into Hospitable. Used to be Sync B&B. You recently rebranded, and I know they've got
Smart B&B.
Smart B&B. Sorry,
Smart B&B.
Smart B&B. I do apologize.
No
all these B&Bs in my head. Smart B&B. And so what we're doing right now is we have got so many clients, so many Team Boostly members that are with Hospitable, and I really wanted them to come into this room and come into their day, so you could just sort of have a chance just to quickly go over the plans, what you're doing, what the plans for the future are. If you've got any slides, you've got co-host ability, so you can do all of that cool stuff. And then what we'll do is we'll do 10 minutes for that, and then we'll do 10 minutes for questions. If you do have questions, peoples, I can't keep up in the Zoom chat. So what we'll do, just like what we did prior, if you've got a question, raise your hand. And then what I'll do is we'll unmute your microphone in proper Clubhouse style, and you can ask away. So the floor is yours, Matthew. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for coming in. And yeah, 10 minutes, all yours.
Awesome. So thank you all so very much. I appreciate the opportunity here. So my name is Matthew. I'm the VP of Customers here at Hospitable. You know, I'm about to share with you how Hospitable helps our hosts, but I can't stress this enough. At the end of the day, it's really always about understanding your needs, right? And that's what we see with a lot of our hosts and people who come to use our tools. They started off somewhere else. They realized what their needs were, and then they found that property management tool specifically for their needs, right? Hospitable, we like to promote ourselves. You know, our hosts share with us that they find value based on a few different reasons with Hospitable. So first of all, ease of use. It's simple. It's straightforward. You don't need an advanced technical degree to be able to navigate around our system, as our hosts have shared with us. It's super easy to implement. You can get started within minutes. We've seen hosts have their entire account configured within an hour. It's really up to you, but it's not something that takes a long onboarding process. The vast majority of our thousands of hosts using our system are all self-service, and the reason for that is because it's a straightforward system, in our opinion. And then great support. Not only support, but making sure that everybody's going to have an issue. There's no software company that's perfect out there, spoiler alert. But at the end of the day, how your software provider responds to those issues speaks volumes. where, of course, there are things that slip through the cracks. For example, I've heard stories about, door codes not being provisioned. Well, we built in different levels of backups upon backups upon backups. So the system's checking it when the reservation's made. The system's checking it the morning of check-in. The system's checking it before it sends the code out at 3 p.m. because you don't want that guest to have that code a minute earlier. Our system is really built to make sure that if anything does slip through, we have checks in place. So folks love us because the reliability, the ease of use, easy implementation. Really, our system is three main functions. All right. Automated guest communication, calendar manager across channels, and then an operations tool to help you with your staff. Now, we'll get started and I'll kind of I'll share my screen with you so you could take a look at what Hospitable looks like. So we should be good to go there. Awesome. So here, this is an actual account. Brian's one of our sales reps. He's actually a host down in Athens, Georgia. But when you access the system, one of the things we really try to promote is getting the information you need wherever you need it. So without going anywhere, I can see, those upcoming check-ins. We know the next one's on the 15th. I can click on Elizabeth here. I'm going to be able to see all those reservation details. I can see some guest insights, know where they're coming from, have that email or phone number if it's available. Hey, did they have any questions that they need answered? No, sounds like a great time. Let us know. They're good to go. They're covered. You can see all that right there from the main page. And then even things like the ability to edit all those scheduled messages. So, for example, we could see that the check-in message is going to go out on July 13th. You can make changes at any time, even for those reservations a year into the future, giving you so much access and control. So, for example, I know, Mark, this is something that you've promoted in the past, but hey, they told us it's their birthday. So when that first morning message, I'm actually going to go in there today and I'm going to say, hey, Elizabeth, thanks so much for spending your special day with us. I'm going to save it, so it's going to be sent on the 16th at 12 p.m. But those small little things are what are going to stand out to them and are going to keep them coming back to you at the end of the day. So if you have a reservation in a year from now, but again, they're coming for a very special anniversary, you can start editing some of these messages today when you have the information, when it's right there in front of you. And then this way, it's going to deliver an extra special guest experience in the future. So ease of use, the ability to kind of see it all in one place. I'm going to go, show you really quickly. We start off as a communication tool. And first and foremost, Pierre built this system. He was an Airbnb host. He enjoyed spending time with his guests, but he hated all the time he spent communicating and telling them the Wi-Fi password was the bane of his existence, as he likes to say. So with our system, we automate far more than almost anybody out there. So within 60 seconds of this last minute instant booking being confirmed, we're going to send an automated message. Well, that's great, Matt. Everybody can do that. However, what we can do is, based on different conditions, alter your messages. So when that booking was confirmed, like I said, we have a calendar manager. So it made sure that your dates are blocked off on Airbnb, verbobooking.com, your direct booking website, any iCal connections that you have. And then on top of that, we have an operations tool. So this automatically created the task, assigned it to that cleaner, sent your cleaner a text message to let them know, hey, you have a job on this day. Here are the details that you need. And then we sent this reservation confirmation, but since it's a last minute, we adjusted the message so that it includes their check-in instructions, right? Because they're going to be checking in a couple hours. So we need to include the door code. We need to include things like, their Google Maps link or the house manual, house guide that you have, so that it's super easy for them to access all the information that they need. We ask for the guest email address. So once they provide that email, we're going to scrape it. We're going to store it for you so that you have and can start building your own guest database. They provide their email, let us know what time they're arriving. We send a message the first morning, right? Always a great time to check in. Just let's see if there's anything we need to address early on, and let's be proactive with that. But with our system, we noticed that your calendar was available the next night. So this host has it configured so that we send a message, just so you know, we do have the ability to extend your stay, offer a late checkout. If you're interested, send us a message and we'll share the details. So we can detect certain scenarios. This guest is going to be staying for more than 7 nights, right? I think there's something, last time we counted, I think it's up to over 300 different triggers that can send an automated message based on a scenario or a question, et cetera, et cetera. So they let us know they had to leave in the morning, but we're having some trouble with the Wi-Fi password. Could you just confirm it with us? So our system does have some really basic AI, machine learning built into it, where we're detecting these questions, we're adding them to our database, and then when we have similar type questions, we could trigger automated replies. So this Wi-Fi reply is only for when the guest is staying, because we're not going to send your Wi-Fi password to somebody who hasn't booked to stay with you yet. But we send them the username and password, some troubleshooting tips, et cetera, et cetera. So it's important because I always ask hosts to set up as much as they can before the guest has made the reservation. So in your initial inquiry, when they ask about parking, when they ask about Wi-Fi speeds, when they ask about, you know, any discounts or the ability for early check-in, our system can detect those questions, automatically send a response during the inquiry stage, because we can send a message from inquiry through review and beyond. We'll send them the answer in their inquiry, so they don't even need to look at other listings. They can go ahead and just move forward with yours because they know you have enough parking set up, and you know that an early check-in is available at this time because the unit is open. We can even do things like, if check-in is within 3 days, then we can offer an early check-in. But if check-in is in more than 3 days, we need to let them know, unfortunately, it's too far out for me to guarantee an early check-in. You could book the night before. We could work on a discounted rate. Whatever your process is, our system's going to help you to accommodate that. Thanks for the fast response. We send checkout instructions. That's cool. We'll leave a review for your Airbnb guests. Let me close that out of the way. We'll leave a review for your Airbnb guests. We can even do things like solicit a review for us. You can send messages up to 270 days after the guest has checked out. So if you want to send them a follow-up message in 60 days, hey, go ahead. I love pairing this with an email campaign. So when they send this message 30 days after checkout, that's when you're sending your marketing email to them with your direct booking site, with your discount code, your friends and family, all of that. But send them an Airbnb message and say, hey, Mark, I just sent you an email. Go take a look. I got some special offers there for you. We appreciated having you as a guest. We look forward to serving you in the future. And this way, they're going to see that Airbnb message before they see that email, maybe, right? We all know what our inbox looks like. Don't even take a look at mine today. But the ability to kind of pair that up is going to make it that much more visible for you. And then, like we said, cleaning tasks, check-in tasks, anybody that needs to be, notified. We'll even do things like send a daily digest where, hey, this is all the cleanings for the day that are assigned to you. These are the cleanings that need to be assigned. We have a few different ways to share that with you all. And then really quickly, calendar. So being able to sync your calendar, give you everything in one location, updating pricing, updating availability, updating minimum night stays, all possible through our system. And then lastly, operations. So when I said before, making sure that you understand your needs is absolutely paramount to picking the right software provider. So I talk to hosts who are like, Matthew, I want my cleaner to upload pictures. I want them to tell me and show me that they shared that pillow, that they turned that pillow a certain way. I want them to make it and be able to share these things with me with your system. Well, that's not what we're here for. Our hosts that we work with and are successful with, they're hosts who just need a really lightweight scheduling tool. The ability to send a reminder, the ability to automatically send a text message. With that, we have a phenomenal user management setup where you can add your cleaner and then make sure that all they can see is the calendar. So we'll give them custom access to just the calendar. They can't see your pricing. They can't see any reservation financials, so that you can go ahead and make sure that they can log in. And anytime they have Wi-Fi, they can go ahead and see what their next job is, what their calendar looks like. This also works great for owners, being able to give them access to the calendar so they can make some adjustments, they can make some updates, block out some days without having to go through you. So user management, operations, again, really, what are your needs? And what I shared earlier, there are some great softwares out there. You said that Hostfully was in here. Fantastic software, robust set of tools, et cetera, et cetera. What do you need? What's going to help your business move forward? What we find a lot of times is, hosts are looking for the simple tool, that kind of just enhancement, or they've gone somewhere else. They spent a bunch of money and they're like, I really don't need all those things. They're nice, and one day I'd love to implement them. But, the story of one day is long and incomplete, I guess you could say. So that's a really basic overview. Our costs are super price effective, if you will. We make sure that because we're only offering these limited feature sets, like you're paying for what you get. So I don't lose many deals when it comes to price, that's for sure, because it's so straightforward.
Brilliant. No, really appreciate that. And bang on the time as well. So well done, you. So bang on 10 minutes. Fantastic. So just like before, we've got questions. So we're going to let Robin go first. Matt, I'll let you take a quick drink if you need a quick drink, because that was a lot of talking in a short space of time. You did very well. So Robin, if you want to unmute your microphone, please, and you can ask away. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So yeah, just basically introduce yourself, where you are in the world, and then just let Matthew know your question, please.
Hi, Matthew. Yeah, I'm Robin. I'm in the southwest of England, Paynton, Devon, and I've got a place in Cornwall as well. So I've just expanded onto Booking.com and Verbo, and just going through the process of that and trying to keep track of prices between the sites, and just really need something like yours. And it just seems really cost effective for me with just a couple of properties. So Booking.com, Verbo, and Airbnb all charge different commissions. So therefore, I've been working out how much to put the price on for Booking.com to allow for that commission being taken out, and the same against Airbnb. Does yours do that? Can you do something where you know, Booking.com would be 15% more expensive than Airbnb?
Absolutely. So we have price markups built into the system so that you could do exactly that. On Airbnb, I'm going to have that 3% markup because I am still on that great deal that we had in the past. You know, Verbo, I'm paying 8%. Booking.com, I'm going to hit 15%. You can include those in there. So when you put $100 as what you want to take home for that night, it's going to make sure Booking.com is at 115 and Verbo's at 108 to cover those fees.
Brilliant.
That's brilliant. That's exactly what I need. I'll be signing up. Thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We appreciate that.
So Matthew, what's the link for people to go and check out pricing, signups? Where's the best place to go?
Just go to hospitable.com, right? Hospitable.com is our site. You're going to be able to see there's a pricing page there so you can have an understanding of what the cost is going to be for you. And then on top of that, you'll be able to go and there's that sign up right in the top right-hand corner. If you want to write down my name, Matthew, or my email, Matthew@hospitable.com, send me an email. I'll give you an extra week of the free trial. So you'll get a 3-week free trial, 21 days to actually go ahead and test it out. So if you're interested, Matthew@hospitable.com, and say, hey, Matthew, I just signed up. Give me your email address so it saves me a step. And then I'll go ahead and I'll manually add an extra week to your trial with no questions asked.
Amazing. So we've got Graham and then Jack. So Graham, if you want to just unmute your microphone, buddy, just let Matthew know where you are in the world and your question, and we'll crack on with your question and then Jack's.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, I'm in the UK, just in the Midlands. Got a relatively decent sized managing agency. What we've started to do is just take on lately. So most of our stuff is vacation rentals, like standalone apartments, but we've just taken on a hotel as well. And it's just our existing channel managers. It's a bit clunky with hotels. It doesn't group. There's no sort of grouping. So essentially every room's listed as a separate property, which is a real pain. I just wondered if you guys had overcome that challenge. Like, have you found a solution to that?
So we don't do any inventory style setups, which I think is what you're looking for, right? You want to have one unit that they could book 20 different rooms within that unit, as opposed to having 20 different units that just cause confusion.
Or potentially 20 separate units that we can at least group together and control. So we've got one lot of settings, one lot of Wi-Fi passwords. Does that make sense? Instead of repeating everything.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So one of the things that we built in is, you know, with everything that you set, you have the granularity to choose super easily which listing that's for. And I'll here, a quick share for you. That's right here. But like which properties. So we can even do things like have a specific tag so that when you're looking for that tag, it's going to show you those properties there. But yeah, hey, this Wi-Fi password is going to work for those specifically. Now, to be honest with you, typically hosts in your setup need a bit more than we can offer. So I will caveat it just with that, because we see managing everything in bulk. One thing that we don't do, we don't manage your listing in any way, right? We found that even if we manage your listing, you still end up spending time going onto Verbo and making changes because this column didn't match up with that column. So what we did is we focused on other areas of the API. So like we don't have that listing manager, which is something that would be a bit more beneficial, you know, for those hosts like yourself who have those inventory or who have those larger scale setups. Now, we do work with hosts who have one property, and our largest company that we work with has 30,000 properties. We are not their only PMS. They have a huge tech stack, and we're just a simple part of that. Whereas the hosts with 1 or 2 properties, we are their PMS, we're their everything. So we see that as you start moving up and adding listings, Hospitable is like an add-on. And the reason for that is our unique connections are the only ones where you can connect to us and another PMS. So any other company that you talk to today, once you connect to them, you can only connect to them. They manage your calendar. They manage a lot of the details. So when you go onto Airbnb, your calendar's gone because that software needs to manage it. They own your calendar, technically, no longer Airbnb. Well, that's not the case for us. So here's another thing that I'll caveat. If you look on our site and see, well, where are all the integrations? Well, we don't need to have integrations because you can still work with Wheelhouse and have us push your pricing to Vrbo or Booking.com. But because of the nature of that Airbnb connection, we're not going to kick out Wheelhouse. Whereas other software providers, if they don't have an integration, you can't work with them because they need to be the conduit to send that information to Airbnb. So just a note there.
How do bookings get into you then if it's not? Because I thought once that API is taken, it's taken, right?
Yeah, exactly. It is, except for us. So we have agreements with them where they don't see us as a full-blown PMS. They see us as like an operational add-on or an operational tool. So because of that, like you'll see our logo next to somebody else's logo on Airbnb, which causes a ton of problems because then they always say, no, it's your fault. No, we don't. We can't touch your calendar, man. We have no access to it. So
yeah.
Good questions, Graham. Did that help?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you.
Good man, appreciate it. Okay, Jack, we're going to come quickly to your good self. If you want to just unmute your microphone, and then we're going to bring in our next special guest. So, Jack, if you could just unmute that microphone, ask away, and we'll go from there.
Hey, Matthew, Jack here from West Wales, UK. Just a quick question in regards to the automated...
Have we connected before, Jack?
I think we have, yeah.
All right, I hear that name stands out. All right, awesome.
I remember you. So I've got my little one running around, and he's going a bit crazy at the moment, but quick.
I hear you there.
So the automated messages, I love how it works. So for my example, so the system knows a guest is checking out on a certain day, but there's no guests arriving that day. So we send them a message saying, would you like a late checkout? Can the system automatically sort of, take payment for that? No
workflows. I'm pushing for those workflows, man. I want to see a lot more automations booked in, but no. So like essentially once they say, okay, you would need to manually within our calendar, right? You're going to go in there and you're going to change it from 11 to 1, give them the extra 2 hours. When you do that, it's automatically going to update your cleaning team, send them a text message, let them know that job changed from 11 to 1. It'll move it on the calendar. You'll have the visibility all over the place in the calendar, but now we won't actually go and bill the guest or anything along those lines. As Mark, you asked me earlier, what are we working on next? Right now, we're working on payment processing. So we don't have a payment processor within our system. Our hosts are using somebody else. They're using their own Stripe account. That is something that we're building and working on. And yeah, workflows have been like the word of the week here for the past couple of weeks. Like, can we create some deeper workflows to just, we can automate messages. That's great. Let's automate some of their tasks because that's really where we're going to deliver a ton of value.
Okay, perfect. Good to know. Thank you very much. Cheers, Matthew.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it. Matthew, thank you so much for coming and doing that. If anybody wants to find out more, please email matthew@hospitable.com. The email address, I put it in the Zoom chat, but
Sweet.
hospitable.com, and Matthew is MATTHEW. Easy. And plus as well, if you do email him, you're going to get 21-day trial, which is fantastic. Thank you so much for doing that. Any final words before we move you back to the waiting room in proper clubhouse style?
No. I appreciate it. And like I said, if you have any other questions too, you can share them my way. You can also, when you go on our website, there's going to be a chat bubble that's going to pop up and ask you a few questions. So if you want to go ahead and connect with our sales team, you can do so there. We are a small business. We're going to do everything that we can to get back to you. And usually you'll hear back from us, rather quickly. But anything that we could do to help, just let us know. And thank you so much for the opportunity here today.
Appreciate it, buddy. All right. So we're going to move you back to the waiting room. Thank you so much for doing this. All right. So what we're going to do now is we are going to bring in the next PMS provider. And let me just come on in here. All right. So next up, we have Uplisting. So we've got Vinny from Uplisting coming in. So I'm going to find you in the room, wherever you may be. I'm going to make you his co-host right down there. V for Vinny. And what I'd love for you to do, if you just unmute that microphone, and we'll get started. So first and foremost, say thank you to Matthew. That was great. That was really good. And here we have Mr. Uplisting, fellow Liverpool fan in the room.
Yes.
So thank you for doing this. I know it's early-ish, kind of early-ish your time.
No worries.
So everybody, can we all say hi, Vinny, Vince, Vinny, whatever in the chat? That'd be lovely. So we now have Uplisting. So just same as before, Vince, you've got full co-hosting, so you can share your screen, show numbers, all that cool stuff. We'll go for 10 minutes, and then we'll do 10 minutes of questions. But the floor is yours. And if we have any Uplisting clients in the chat, please just say hashtag Uplisting, and then we'll go from there, buddy. All yours.
Yeah, even if we don't, just do it anyway, just to make it look good. Yeah. Hi, good morning for me at least. Hi, folks. Thanks, Mark, for having me on. So I'm Vince, or Vinny. I'm one of the founders of Uplisting. I'll spend a few minutes talking about a brief introduction to Uplisting, and I've got a little video to play, which shows off one of our kind of main feature or main flows, which is the guest, our most popular one at least, is the guest pre-arrival automation. So you can see how we can do certain tasks and automate a lot of your pre-arrival tasks. So as I said, I'm one of the founders. We're actually a UK-based company. I'm in the US, in New York, so a bit early for me, and I've just got the kids off to daycare, so we're the morning day starting early. So for those that don't know, Uplisting is we're an Airbnb preferred software partner and channel manager, and we're built specifically for growing property managers or growing short-term rental businesses. We are also connected to Booking.com, Verbo, and we're one of the few solutions to offer a Google Vacation Rentals integration, which is really cool. It allows you to list all your properties on Google Maps, Google Search, and their Google Travel portal. So I think a really up and coming channel, which is good to be on. And all the reservations that come through Google are direct reservations, direct bookings. So you're not paying a large OTA fee, basically. Our goal with Uplisting is to help you confidently grow your short-term rental business and to help you maximize as much as you can, so as much as you can earn. We kind of focus on, and we've always focused on reliability as number one. Reliability and user experience, so ease of use are kind of central pillars from day one. We want to ensure that you can rely on Uplisting to grow your business and not have things go wrong in the background and be unreliable, which really stems your growth. We're global. This is a bit of a map of this is a bit old now, 6 months, but this is like our property. So our largest markets are our largest markets are the US and UK, and we power some of the largest property managers in both locations. And then Australia is our third largest, but a bit smaller than the rest. We have members that range from 5 to 500 properties. We've had members who started an Uplisting with 5 properties and have grown to over 200. And I think one thing that we do, which is maybe different to a lot of others, is that we work quite closely with our members. So we have, for example, if you've got over 40 properties, you're welcome to join a private WhatsApp group just between us and you and your team. And we work really closely on, any improving features or making tweaks or just understanding how we can, help improve your business. And as we see these market maturing and you facing new challenges, we love to be at the forefront of helping you solve those bigger challenges. Over half of our members come from other software that's maybe failed them in some way. It could be reliability, it could be the cost. We don't charge a commission per property or per booking, for example. Or it could be just we have some really valuable features that help you manage your business. Sorry. So we offer a lot of features to help put your business on, to automate your business, put it on autopilot as much as possible. So we do things like automate tasks, guest messaging. So we have a really powerful guest messaging functionality with lots of different filters and conditions. So you can say, send this message if guest has signed their rental agreement and has paid their deposit and is staying for over 2 days, and so on. So it's really, you can really narrow down your messages and have the messages sent to the right guest based on conditions. And I'll show you a quick video of that in a second. We have lots of other automation features that just help you to run your business, whether it's Airbnb automated reviews, for example, which really help to boost your rankings in Airbnb, Airbnb autoresponder, and guest identity verification, payments for reservations like booking.com and direct booking reservations. It's all done within Uplisting. We also, another really popular feature is our click and play direct booking website. So I know we work with Mark quite closely with some of our members on more advanced websites that you might need. But as you're starting off with direct bookings, our philosophy is let's get you into a position where you can click a few buttons and start taking direct bookings today, within an hour. So with Uplisting, for example, what will happen is you can import your Airbnb listings from Airbnb, connect your Stripe account, and start taking direct bookings immediately. You can have your own unique domain name. You can have your own listings. You can share these listings, via whatever messaging you want to share it with, and you can take direct bookings today. Then as you kind of grow and evolve your direct booking strategy, and if you can get in touch with Mark then, and he can help you build upon your website with SEO and content and everything else. We're on course we launched this direct booking website in 2020, just at the start of COVID. We processed $2 million of direct bookings for members that year. We did 15 million last year, and we're on course to do 30 million direct bookings this year. So a lot of money flowing through this functionality. It's really designed to make it as simple as possible for a guest to book your property. Really simple flow, no distractions, just get a guest to book. So this is a 3-minute video kind of showing off, it shows off a bit of Uplisting, but in particular it shows off our guest pre-arrival automation. It's one of our most popular features. It really helps you to manage your operations, not have to chase guests as much, and have separate spreadsheets to see what if a guest has done X or Y or Z. But I'll just play this video. Folks, just going to show you how we do the guest identity verification, security deposit payment, and rental agreement signatures all on Uplisting on one page. So just quickly, this is an account, a test account. This is a reservation coming in from booking.com. We have these statuses here on the reservation, which shows what if something's been done or not. And you can view the guest booking confirmation page. This link is provided to every guest in an automated message. It's all unique to each guest. So they can enter their actual email address. If it's an Airbnb or booking.com reservation, they can verify their identity, and they go through this process, which works really nicely. They can take a picture on their phone, upload a file, or do it via just take a picture on the webcam. That will then show as verified. We'll verify that through a third party that the ID is legitimate, and you'll see the images on a new identity tab directly on Uplisting. Then we have a rental agreement, which you can enter using like dynamic content such as the guest name, check-in dates, check-in times, listing name, and so on. Guests can read those terms. They can sign the agreement on their phone or on their browser. Submit. Takes a few seconds to process, but once it's processed, you'll get a PDF rental agreement like this, which is timestamped, got your logo, got all the agreement, and then at the very bottom has the guest signature, and so on. And as I submit this, so the other one is a security deposit collection for certain reservations. So for booking.com, for example, I can provide my security deposit payment method directly here, and that's stored for my for use. So we'll take the payment 24 hours before check-in. And if I go back to my reservation and Uplisting and refresh, I can see that, as a host, the guest has performed most of these actions. They have yet to upload their ID, but if necessary, I can chase them via, a message through Uplisting. So There you go. Quick. We spent a lot of time working on our guest pre-arrival automation tasks. I think we have a really robust platform here that automates a lot of this stuff, and it's all inside Uplistings, Channel Manager, and Property Management System. Okay. Yeah, so I was going to the video then, why members love Uplisting. So as I mentioned before, it's a lot about just being really easy to use, from a beginner perspective. So I mentioned we focused on growing short-term rental property managers or whatever it is. But that doesn't mean that you need to have 50 properties. It could be that you have 1 or 2 properties, but you have ambitions to be much larger. So Uplisting is designed to be really easy to use for you kind of just starting out as you grow and as you become a much larger property manager. And also for our larger members, so we have members who have maybe 20 teammates using Uplisting, and it needs to be really easy to use for them to train new staff and everything else. So we're really conscious about just that simplification of being able to use Uplisting and not having functionality hidden in various pages where you don't know it's there and then you make a mistake and it's your fault apparently for not knowing that. But so it's really simple. Really easy to use. We have a reliable syncing with Airbnb, Booking.com, Vrbo, Google, and your direct booking website. We sync with those channels instantly. It's like that. Central hub to manage all your bookings. We have automated and streamlined guest communications, and I mentioned the click and play direct booking website. And in terms of getting started, it's really easy to get started. We have a 14-day free trial. There's no credit card. There's no sales paywall to get our sales lead form to get access to it. We offer free onboarding calls across the US and UK time zones, which work for most people. And if you're in Australia, we can work out a time as well. We have a weekly introduction webinar to help you just understand how functionality works and make the most out of the platform.
Nice, good stuff. Yeah, and this is one thing that we love to see. Obviously, you've got the free trials. Do take advantage of them, which is awesome. And look at that, lovely reviews as well, which is good. I know a lot of people who use Uplisting and love Uplisting, and they've got a really cool community, Facebook group, WhatsApp chats, and all that stuff. Yeah, lovely stuff.
Exactly.
All right, and yeah, I think I recognize that Mr. Ryan at the top. So I recognize that one. So yeah, all good. So questions. If you have questions, please let us know. I did see one coming on the chat. The question is, how many, I don't know if you know this off by heart, but how many listings, how many units do you reckon that you have on your platform in total now?
We have, I think, over 6,000 listings connected to Airbnb.
Wow.
We have about 550 accounts or members or companies using Uplisting, I guess.
And what would you say is Uplisting's sort of USP or unique selling point, like the one thing that you feel like is like your wheelhouse, your really like strong point?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds, I don't know if people haven't used software before or maybe they have experience with it, but reliability is number one. It sounds like it should be a given, but it's really not. It's quite complicated to ensure that you're syncing with each booking site correctly. Prices are accurate across multiple sites. Your messages are sending correctly. Like if you saw our internal dashboard with all of the systems that we have and alerts that come in when something doesn't go as expected, which happens all the time with technology, you can understand how much we invest into our reliability. So number one is reliability. It really is quite, it stands us out from a lot. It's one reason why we've been able to get a lot of larger property managers, 400, 500 properties, because the software they're using previously just wasn't reliable enough. So that's number one. Then also with those, it's the working closely. So we're not looking to have thousands of customers. We have a price point which starts off at £80 per month, and that's up to 5 properties. But it means that we really want to focus on the growing property manager. So we will invest our time in helping you achieve your goals, listen to your feedback, understand what you'd like us to do and what we build, and we're constantly adding features to help all of you guys optimize your businesses.
So a question came in. Would you say that Uplisting is best if you've got 5+ properties, or can you help from 1 to 5? Like, where do you feel like your strong point is?
It depends what you want to do. So if you have one property that's on Airbnb only, then not as much value. If you have one property that's on Airbnb, Booking.com, Google, and Vrbo, and also direct bookings, then there's lots of value for somebody like that.
Fantastic. If we have any other questions, then please pop them in. Oh my gosh, this is a big one. Late to the Zoom, but I have 5 properties and looking to move to something more user-friendly. For instance, each to have their own availability, separate banking details for some, better looking website. I've invested. So we've got somebody here who has got to that 5 property stage. They've gone with another provider from 1 to 5, but they're now ready to level up. What would be, I guess, a good question to ask yourself would be, when you find somebody that comes to Uplisting and they're at this stage of growth, what do you find is their sort of the main question that they have? And as like a 2-part question is, what is like the biggest mistake that you see so many people make when they're trying to move from one to another? They're trying to ready to level up. So they've come to Uplisting. What's the one big mistake you see the majority of people make? And what the other part of the question is, what is like the main question that you feel that they have?
Oh, good question. I think one mistake is going for the cheapest option. I think we've been really conscious about not doing that because we're not, our members, well, are maybe not as price sensitive as others, but it's the bargain solution isn't going to be the best solution for the most part. And secondly, when you are kind of joining with 5 properties, you'll get this across a lot of our competitors that are also very good software, but you may not think that we have all the solutions to run your business. No solution out there has all of your software, so we'll see relatively frequently we'll see somebody sign up with 5 or 6 or whatever properties, or even 1 or 2 properties. They'll either think it's a bit too expensive and go and try something else, or they think we don't have all the functionality they need to solve all of their business goals. They'll go somewhere else, and then they'll come back 5-6 months later and just realize that our platform, reliability, number one, is the most important thing, and then adding additional functions and automations on top of that is really helpful. But if you don't have the reliability, then it's not going to work for you in your business. So I think the grass isn't always greener is one.
Could you just go back to that screen which had the sign up link, uplisting.io? This is important to state. It's uplisting.io. Go to there. And this is why I love that you put in the 14-day trial. No credit card or anything like that. Just sign up, give a good play. And I always say this to everybody who is looking to move PMS or get one for the first time, is take advantage of the trials, because at the end of the day, this is where you get a real good insight. I think so. What we notice is, like, when you guys are looking for software, you'll try 3, 4, 5 different software at the same time. So we want you to be able to freely check out each software rather than having like this, a paywall or a cost to onboard. I think that's a bit sneaky tactics. So you can have a look around, see if it's good for you or not. It's very easy to onboard. You can connect Airbnb without impacting your existing software, or your Airbnb account is in read only. So you get to really quickly see whether Uplisting is going to suit your needs or not. And Graham, to answer your question, so Graham's put in a question here about hotels and whatnot. So just to give you an idea, Graham, Ryan Luke uses Uplisting, and Ryan, that he doesn't just get one properties anymore. He's looking to take over Dubai and all of the things that he's doing at the moment. But to answer your question, have a chat with Vinny, have a chat with Uplisting, because I feel like the questions that you're asking, because you asked the same ones earlier, it's definitely more. Uplisting is definitely more suited for what your needs are, 100%. So jump on to uplisting.io. Vinny, if anybody wants to send an email, is that okay to do so? What's the best way to get in touch with you? Yeah, Vincent at uplisting.io, or on Twitter. Very active on Twitter. My inbox is a bit of a nightmare, but Vincent at uplisting.io. I will respond, and at Breslin on Twitter. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Nice. Really, really appreciate your time, buddy. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, everybody. Can everyone just say thanks, Vince, in the chat? That would be lovely. And we're going to bring on final one of the day. So I really hope you've enjoyed this. I really hope everybody has got something from it. And if you want me to do it again in the future, but maybe with not property management software, maybe with somebody else, who knows what we can do. Right, I'm going to bring in the final one now. So can everybody say thanks to Vinny, and can everybody say hello to Eden? So Eden is joining us from Guesty. Everybody will have heard of Guesty, but one of the biggest and best names in the industry. So we're really, really grateful for you for coming on board and doing this with us, Eden.
My pleasure.
Let me just make you co-host, which I have just done. I'm going to add you in here. So very, very quickly, if you can do so. Everybody say hi, Eden, in the chat. First and foremost, have I pronounced your name right, Eden?
Yeah, you're spot on.
Oh, fantastic. I always get really nervous before doing that. So, so that was good. So can you please, first and foremost, describe to everybody what you do for Guesty, first and foremost. Second thing, you've got slides that you can share. You are co-host. You've got a good 10 minutes. I'm going to restart the timer, and we can go and do that. And then we're going to finish with questions. So I'm sure by now everybody's got questions primed and ready to go. So I'll let you just dig in. The floor is yours. I'm going to mute my microphone. So welcome, welcome.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for having me, Mark. As you kindly said, my name is Eden. I work for Guesty. I am the director of sales in charge of the entire globe except for the US for Guesty. I joined the company in November, and it's been a pretty wild ride since I joined. 250 new employees have also joined the company. So I'm technically not a veteran, but I feel like one, which is a pretty wild feeling. So as Mark said, I have some slides to share here with you today, just so you can get to know Guesty. We'll do it real quick. So as Mark mentioned, probably all of you are aware of Guesty. We're considered to be one of, if not the leading platform for short-term rental management today. And that is mainly due to the very powerful engine that runs Guesty, which is the largest research and development team in the industry today, which allows us to build a product that is not only innovative and with fresh features and new capabilities, but is also the most stable and the most well integrated in the market. We are preferred software partners with Airbnb, VRBO, and Booking.com, and well on track to be such with Expedia as well later on this year. And that's basically where all of those figures that you see on the screen right now go, that $110 million funding, which is the second largest in the industry today, I believe, as well as our employee number, the offices that we have around the globe, and our investors. It all goes back into the product to make sure that we are, utilizing the best talent in the industry and the most experienced, not just developers, but also C-suite executives and so on, to build the most innovative and stable platform in the market today. So our vision for Guesty that we're already implementing and that we want to move boldly into the future with is to basically do for property management what Shopify did for commerce. If you were doing online commerce in any way 10 years ago, you would have heard people say stuff like e-commerce is impossible to manage in one place. You're always going to have different solutions for your different stages in your cycle. And Shopify came in and proved them wrong. They basically said, we will create one platform for all of the daily workflows that go into e-commerce. And that is the Guesty vision for property management. So we want to end the days where you have to use a separate accounting software, separate software for your channel management, separate software for your task management, and so on, and have all these different tabs open and spreadsheets and phone numbers, etc., and put it all in one place. So the way to do that is to answer the needs of all three of the people that play a part when property is actually being managed. The first part is obvious, right? It's you guys, the property managers. You need a way to distribute your property to the market, to manage your pricing, to be efficient in your operations, to be compliant with the manifold regulations that apply to our industry, to, of course, get good reviews so that you score higher on all of the algorithms that are ranking your software. And at the bottom line, you want to yield KPIs, right? You want to yield metrics that actually indicate that your company is performing well. But that's only where the story begins, right? Not where the story ends, because you service the property owners, right? And they have their own needs. They want to receive payments on time. They want to maintain their property, right? To take care of wear and tear and so on. They want to feel like you're a reliable operator, that everything is happening as they intend, that they're covered if something happens to their listing. If something were to go wrong, then you have their back. And of course, they want to settle all finances on time. They want to get their statements and their money and so on. So we'll get to the Guest in a second. Guesty already has a suite of features that is aimed at you, yes, but also at your users, which are the property owners, to get that end-to-end experience. And then lastly, of course, the guest which is the end user of our properties. They have their own interest in mind. They want to find the right property. They want to be safe when they're there. They expect to have easy communication. So gone are the days of emails and phone numbers and so on. They want to be able to message you and people on premise and so on. And in general, they just want to have a very seamless and contactless experience around their stay, which is something that Guesty can help with as well. So in order to provide this end-to-end experience, we have not limited ourselves to a specific type of property or a specific type of size of user or a specific location. We service all types of properties from, we actually have a big client in the US doing glamping, so renting out tents using Guesty's platform, to your more traditional vacation rentals, urban apartments, apart hotels, and so on. We have clients of every size. We, in the last year, launched a product called Guesty for Hosts for smaller property managers with 1 to 3 listings, which gives you the great Guesty experience, but with the features that are key to smaller operations. And then Guesty for Pros, which goes from 4 listings to huge property management companies all the way up to plus 500. And we even provide our products as an API, what's called backend as a service, so you don't even have to use the interface. You could just use our APIs, and we operate all across the globe, US, Australia, the UK. We have a representative based in the UK, Europe, and so on and so forth. Of course, our product is not perfect. No product is perfect. And we can't really handle all needs during those end-to-end flows, which is why we have the most robust marketplace in the industry, partnering with over 100 partners that allows us to basically complete our offering, right? So in the case that you do find things that Guesty can't do, the chances that we don't have a partner that does it are close to 0. We partner with some of the biggest names in the industry, whether it's your dynamic pricing providers like PriceLab or Wheelhouse, home automation platforms like Operto and Remote Lock, and more, Breezeway and Safely and Duve and all of the big players in the industry doing their thing and making our platform even more powerful. And these integrations, again, going back to what I said about our developers, are going to be best in class. So they're going to be easy to use and stable because we just have more people on deck taking care of them every single day and making them the best that they can be. I won't have time to go into the platform itself, obviously. These are just a few GIFs to show you how things look like behind the wheel when you do use Guesty. But just to summarize, Guesty is the end-to-end platform for property managers, which is agnostic to things like size, location, asset types, or business models. We do it all. We can service any types of companies or use cases that you can think of. We're powered by a world-class R&D team of over 150 people, and that's just in R&D, not to mention product and support and C-suite and so on. And we're still growing. And our goal is to lead this industry through best-in-class innovation, delivering the newest features, but also making sure that they're stable and they actually work. And it's not just fancy bells and whistles, but things that actually provide value to you on a day-to-day basis. That's it. Again, my name is Eden. My email address is here. And if you want to dig deeper and request a demo from us, we put together a link specifically for you guys. So you know you're coming in from Boostly. Start.guesty.com/Boostly. You'll be able to fill a form there and then get one of my lovely account executives that will run you through the product more in depth. And that's it.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Keep that link up, please. Keep that slide up so people can see it on the screen. Perfect. So this is where we get the chance to offer and ask questions. So if you want to ask a question, and Cristobal, you've just put an essay in the chat there. I can't read that, so you need to raise your hand and I will unmute you and you can ask that question directly. But I do see a super quick one. So obviously, Guesty has lots of features. Guesty is able to work with many partners on this. So John asked a question. I see you offer damage protection. Is that automatically part of the monthly fee, or is this one of those optional upgrades?
Perfect question. First of all, let me just point out that damage protection offering is currently supported in the US and Mexico only. Canada and the UK are the next 2 markets that are on our crosshairs. And when I say on our crosshairs, the ink is drying on the agreement as we speak with our providers there. That is an additional fee on top of our monthly fees. And it's actually not monthly, it's on a reservation basis, right? Because we cover each and every reservation, the fee is tied to the reservation instead of your monthly fee. Should you decide to go for a deeper demo, there are several packages that cover you up to certain amounts, so you can tailor the damage protection package to your needs, right? If you don't want to be covered up to a certain amount, then you can pay less, and so on. What we find a lot of our users doing is actually incorporating the damage protection cost into the reservations, right? If you think about it, it's a perk for the guest as well. If they're staying at your property, they know that should anything happen, and forget malice, just an accident, right? They spill wine on the carpet, they know you're covered, so you won't be chasing them, you'll be chasing your damage protection provider, right? So it's something that we see people folding into the cost of the reservations, which is why it's billed on a reservation basis.
No, great answer. So this is something that I'm just becoming aware of now. So is this a new feature? Is this something that's been around in America and Mexico for a while? And can you just sort of, just very quickly, sorry, just to sort of explain how is it different to air cover?
Yeah, of course, great question. So it's relatively new. We launched it a few months ago in the US and have been slowly expanding it. Basically, the difference with Guesty's damage protection solution is that our user, the person who we're in touch with, is you guys, right? Other offerings like Airbnb's damage protection, for example, or other partners, they're more guest-centric, right? So that just shows up in the numbers. They tend to take the guest side when claims are made. Whereas with us, we have vested interest in basically listening to your claim thoroughly and going with your version of things just because you are our user. That also leads to our service level, right? With Airbnb, for example, you have 14 days to submit a claim. With us, it's 30 days. And with most of these partners, not sure about AirCover specifically. Yeah, I think it applies to them as well. You need to make the claim before the next guest checks in. Right? With us, there is no such limitation. You can rest easy, make the claim later. Sometimes you only find out about it after the next guest is checked in, right? So that's not a limitation with us. So those are our main differentiators and why I would say our damage protection offering is superior.
I love it. Before we go to Christobal's question, because it is a good one. So obviously last year, Guesty acquired Your Porter, which is now changed into Guesty for Hosts. So
Correct.
I think this is where there's a lot of confusion with Guesty. So can you just very quickly just sort of overview what is Guesty for Hosts? Who is Guesty for Hosts best for? And then just quickly jump into Guesty Pro.
Yeah. So basically, Guesty had a look last year at our strategy and kind of at the industry and figured out that there are many types of people managing properties, but you could, if you wanted, break them down into two major types. The first type is what usually makes the news, which is just people with apartments, right? Whether it's for family or purchases that they made, they have 2 or 3 properties that they manage and they use it as passive income, right? Another source of income. They don't need things like accounting and financial reports and in-depth automation, right? They simply need a good piece of software that will help them keep all the balls juggling in the air. That's Guesty for Hosts. It gives them the calendar, the inbox, and some basic automation to help you manage your few listings that you do on the side. But once you're a company and you start to need things like invoicing and more robust at-scale automation and in-depth reporting and user permissions and all of these extra features, that's where the classic traditional Guesty solution comes in. So really, if you're an operation to any degree, if you're a business, if you're a company, you want to be going with Guesty for Pros. If this is a side stream of revenue for you, then that's exactly where Guesty for Hosts comes in, which is implied in the name, right? People who are hosting people at their apartment or listings that they own. So that's how I would break down the difference between these two offerings.
Lovely. So Christobal is actually going to email you directly, Eden, because his question is very bespoke, very niche, and he's very kindly said that I will message him privately. But we do have one that's open for everybody. Lakeisha asked, does Guesty offer digital signature for agreements?
The answer is yes. With Guesty, you can create not only a rental agreement, but also make it a part of a check-in form that is then automatically sent to your reservations whenever you see fit, whether it's on confirmation, before check-in, and so on. When they fill out that check-in form, where they can also put in their passport information and amenity requirements and so on, they actually can also digital signature the agreement itself, which is then stored inside of Guesty for you to export and use in the future.
Lovely. So moving very quickly back to the partners that you're with. Obviously, Boostly's partnered with on the website side with Guesty, and Juan is actually using Guesty for hosts. And he was asking, do you know of when they are going to open up the API for Guesty for hosts so they can link into something like a third party, like Boostly, for example, or et cetera, et cetera?
Good question. I will admit that I'm not on the product team, right? So I'm not fully privy to the entire roadmap as it expands into the future. But I'll be very honest with you, that's planned to be one of the differentiators between the platforms, right? If you think about it, maintaining an API connection to third-party software is an ongoing effort. It's not a one and done. You have developers constantly sitting in front of the integration, debugging it, making it better, expanding it, and so on. So not to say that these integrations will never reach Guesty for hosts, because I don't think that's the plan, but it's not one of our priorities for Guesty for hosts, because exactly that's where we see things going into the Guesty for pros territory. If you want a stable integration, if you want to have best-in-class communication with these third-party applications, we see that as part of the Guesty for pros offering and not as part of the Guesty for hosts offering. So it will be coming, but I feel safe to say that it will be in the far future as opposed to the next few months.
I think, Juan, we're maybe looking at Q1 of 2023, but don't worry, I will keep asking. So, but very good question. Okay, there's another one. Juan's asked again. I am smoothly operating 24 listings with Guesty for hosts. I am smoothly operating. So I think that's basically saying I'm good, doing good. Thank you. So that would be good.
Yeah. First of all, I mean, I'm glad to hear it, right? Like that's a good outcome. It's the same company. We don't see it as competition. But I would be happy to talk with you further on how exactly you're doing it, because I think there's a difference between everything is running smoothly now as opposed to the value that you could be getting from the Guesty for pros offering, right? There's a difference between smoothly and optimal. So I think there are a few tools that you're missing out on, especially for 20 plus listings, that could be beneficial for you.
Yes, I see what he means now with the question. So yeah, that was like Spanish to English and English. No, but exactly what you're saying. So I mean, even it's going to come up a lot. You know, obviously, like you put the numbers 1 to 3 for Guesty for host, and then 4+ for Guesty Pro. But I think it comes with anything and everything in business and in life. You level up. And you get to a certain point in your business journey, whether that level up is a financial number, whether that level up is a property number, whether that level up is a staff number, that you will need to level up in time. So it's definitely one to have a chat with Eden and the team about maybe transitioning. I mean, this is obviously why, you know, looking from outside in, you purchase your portal, because then you can have a nice little transition from 1 to 3, 4 properties plus. So lovely question. So let's get down to brass tacks, the pricing then. So what is the pricing for Guesty for host, and what is the pricing for Guesty Pros? And how does it work?
Right. So the pricing for Guesty for hosts is on our website, and you can go take a look at it. I don't sell Guesty for hosts at all, right? It's all with another team in the company, and their pricing is their pricing. So you're free to go to our website and check out the pricing there. Guesty for pros is more of a bespoke solution, of course, meant for larger businesses, and that's where we come in. Where we start is $60 per listing per month. And of course, that is something that we negotiate depending on company size, the amount of integrations that you want to have, and so on. That gets you 95% of the platform. So all of our automations, all of our communication tools, API integrations, all that stuff. We do have a few add-ons, like our accounting module geared towards more, bespoke financial use cases, and advanced analytics, which is extra on top of that. And I'll be happy to discuss pricing of those modules during follow-up calls. But $60 per listing per month, that's the core pricing that gets you pretty much the entire platform.
Lovely. Brilliant. Thank you for that. So you can just assume that we've the answer your question about Guesty for host, you can assume it's a little bit less than that. So fantastic. Sure. Eden, that was amazing. Thank you so much. Big numbers, good numbers. Fantastic for doing that. And thank you for being part of it. Can everybody just say in the chat, thank you, Eden?
Thanks for your time, everyone.
That'd be great. All right, I'm going to just drop you back down into the waiting room. That was great. I'll chat with you later.
Have a good one.
All right, everybody. That is it. I enjoyed that. That was good. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, I know we focused on Hostfully, Hospitable, Uplisting and Guesty, but those are the ones who said yes. So it says a lot about the PMS providers that got back to me and said yes. Others ignored my email. Others said no. So it says a lot about everybody that did come into it. And, you know, your PMS may not have been featured today. That's totally cool. If you have liked this sort of style and like this sort of method, we can do it again. I got to have a feeling of who we want to be in. A special mention to Vince at Uplisting, because he is actually part of the book project with me. So for those of you who don't know, I'm working on the next book, which is going to be called The Book Direct Blueprint. The playbook is all about marketing tactics. And I pulled the full chapter out of that book, which was about the tech stack behind the scenes, because I didn't feel like I could do it justice. And so what I've done is I've gone out into the world. I've found all the vendors who really do focus on the book direct message. And Vinny at Uplisting, he gave you those numbers of what they are producing, which is fantastic. And he's going to be, his chapter of excellence is going to be about property management software. It's going to be about channel management. So I'm excited for that. And I'm going to give more news about that over the coming weeks and months, which is lovely. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something new about a PMS. For example, I've learned loads, I've made notes, which is definitely cool. And obviously, you know that there are 1,400 PMS providers out there. There are a lot. So my goal is to make sure that I put the best in front of you that's going to help you make that decision, because I know a lot of you haven't got a property management software yet because of the overwhelm. And so by doing things like this to give you an idea on pricing, it should help loads. I feel the sort of the takeaway from this is that Hospitable, which was Matthew from Hospitable, they are geared up to those starting out. Anything from 1 to 5, even though they do have larger clients, he was perfectly honest and open in saying that, listen, they are not the all-in-one. They really help host and getting started. And a big part of their message is the automation. I love that there is a message for every scenario, including birthdays, anniversaries, and you can send a message 200 days after checkout, which is really cool in terms of remarketing and whatnot. And they link it up with Airbnb, Verbo booking and all that stuff. And they are trying now to bring in things like payment. So they are really good. I think Hostfully, Uplisting, they definitely get involved at that 5+ level. You know, I know that everybody says they were saying that they can help everybody, but I feel like with the pricing being on average about 60 to 80 euros a month, going up to sort of 160 for 5+ properties, I feel like they really do come into their own, maybe that 3, 4, 5, 6+. I know people with Uplisting that have got hundreds of properties. I know people with Hostfully that have got hundreds of properties, but Hostfully also have the digital guidebook as well, which is, I think a lot of people know and more for the digital guidebook. And then you've got Guesty. Guesty, in my opinion, they are the most well-known, but they are the most expensive. But just like with everything in this world, you get what you pay for. Like you were saying there, it was 60 euros a listing, and you get 95% access. And this damage protection thing is really cool that they're doing this. I know it's more, but it's just that extra peace of mind. The thing where, and again, what they're doing is they've looked at what air cover is, and they're going, well, we can better that. We can better that. And again, you're not having to rely on somebody else's word here, which is the key takeaway of what he said then was, with Airbnb, they favor the guest. With Guesty, they're going to favor the host. So it's key that. So I'm glad that we got such nice different variations in. I'm glad that you've learned loads, which is cool to see all the messages. This has been recorded and it's going to be up in the Facebook group. So the Team Boostly Facebook group, it's going to be in there, and I can see it live right now, so you can jump in there. Vinny's video, he has sent me the video on WhatsApp already, so I'm going to take that video, the one that he couldn't get going, with the sound, and it's going to be in the group. And I may even turn this into a podcast later down the line, because this was really good. I'm really glad we did this. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving 90 minutes of your time. Wherever you're watching from around the world. I know we've got people in America, we've got people in Australia, South Africa, the UK, etc., etc. So it's great to see. And Christoph, Cristobal, I know you had your question. I've definitely reached out to Eden directly, which was lovely. Okay, all love yous and leave yous. Give me all a big wave. Let me get you all on screen. Give me all a big wave. There you go. Hi, little man. Trying to grab the camera. All right, all. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye. Adios. See you soon. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
having a blast. Gonna get it on the Bruce Lee podcast. Bruce Lee like Bruce Lee, cause it's so hard and the T is loose leaf. Making up those rhymes, don't write it, just do it loosely.